So these are our bikes. Really proud of these. So we have two bikes. They look pretty similar, but they're very different. I'm gonna touch these screens so that they brighten up a little bit. So what's special about, or what's different about these bikes and special about these bikes, I like to think that they're kind of the next generation bike. The difference between these two is that this one uses a belt instead of a chain. So being a belt, it's kind of what I would say, it's like the quietest, most like space age experience. So when you're pedaling, you literally hear nothing. So you can bike next to a sleeping baby and the baby wouldn't wake up. Versus this bike, it does make noise, but because it uses a chain, it's more of like a realistic feel, like you're on the road, like outside. So you can kind of feel that tactical feel of the chain. You can kind of hear it when I change the pedals. So it has like this like feeling of being immersive. And so for a lot of people, I prefer like this bike because it makes me feel like I'm biking outside, versus this might be great for someone who wants to be really quiet and wants that extremely smooth experience. Some of the technology that makes these bikes really unique and different than what's out there. The first thing is that they're what we call freewheel bikes. So there's two types of bikes on the market. People usually don't know that, but when you go to a spin studio, it's what you call a fixed bike. And that means the pedal is tied to the flywheel. And so if you want to like do an emergency stop, it's really hard to stop on a bike. You have to like press this emergency brake. With our bikes, they're more like a real bike when you're on the road. So when you're pedaling, let's say you suddenly wanted to coast and you wanted to stop, you could like literally just stop pedaling and the wheel's still gonna spin. But it's more like mimicking a real road bike than being in a spin studio. So because we're trying to give you the most immersive experience, like you're out there in the real world. And those are some of the key features. And I'd say the third feature that makes it really unique is that we don't use magnets to change or like rubber pads to change the resistance. So a lot of spin bikes have like a knob here. We're using electricity. So we're using this advanced technology. So all you would do instead is you click these up and down buttons and you'd get to your resistance level right away. And so why that is why that I think is important is because when you're on a spin bike and you want to change your resistance level, it's kind of distracting to have to reach to a knob, turn it, and kind of look at the screen and see what resistance level you're at. With this bike, you're just really clicking, and then within like a split second, you're at that resistance level. So if I want to go from like the lowest level to the highest level, it would take a split second versus having to like play with the knob. So these bikes are like super advanced. You can have the quiet version or the more realistic version. And there's like a ton of other features, obviously the software that we're not going to get into since we went over on the treadmill already. But you have all that same really immersive content, streaming, classes that you do on our treadmill.